The government must release all simulations, projections, data, and modeling that show the potential impact of this pandemic on the health of Canadians and our healthcare system. Other governments are releasing this information so that researchers and non-governmental organizations can review it and provide advice. Mr. Trudeau should be open and transparent with Canadians. We can handle the truth. In order to increase the transparency and oversight, the government should also provide regular updates, weekly updates on Canada's capacity to respond to this crisis, including our inventory of medical equipment and our evolving capacity to produce more. How many masks, gloves, gowns, and ventilators do we have? What progress are we making in expanding our capacity to provide more? How many hospital beds are in service? How many beds have been added to the system? How many medical professionals are available? And how many more are being added to that system? Do we have enough supplies for the various scenarios that the government has modeled? These updates should include projections for at least the next 6 months. Now, Mr. Trudeau says his government is being guided by the evidence, so it's time to release that evidence. The government must also be accountable to Parliament. Minister Freeland this week assured opposition leaders that there would not be a repeat of the power grab that we blocked last week during the next emergency sitting of Parliament. And I sincerely hope that's true. The government's legislation must be focused on helping Canadians. When the House of Commons next sits, Conservatives will be looking for several things. First, the government must reverse this week's increase of the carbon tax. I continue to believe that it should be scrapped altogether, but in this time of crisis, there is no justification for the government to be taking more money out of the economy through higher taxes. We believe the government must refund the GST that allow small businesses to keep the GST that they have collected over the past few months. This will allow for an immediate cash infusion to allow small and medium-sized businesses to survive this downturn and to ensure that there are jobs for people to go back to. The wage subsidy is taking weeks to roll out, and companies have to pay the wages up front. Many of them have experienced a catastrophic drop in revenue, so allowing them to keep the GST that has already been collected is quick and easy and provides an immediate solution. Well, you're right to point out that at the time that the media bailout package was introduced, Conservatives had major concerns with that. Our preference under normal economic conditions were for media companies to be able to monetize the creation of their content. We recognize that there are many large internet companies, multinational companies, companies headquartered in other countries that reap the benefits of the content that Canadian media creators produce. So journalists and authors who write articles see their articles shared on news aggregator sites and on other platforms that collect all the ad revenue. So our preference was to impose market mechanisms that would ensure that the creators of the content were able to receive the revenue of the content. At this point in time, with this crisis affecting literally every sector, I think it's appropriate for the government to take a balanced approach to treat every sector as fairly as possible. There's a lot of hurt out there. There's hurt in the service sector. There's hurt in the oil and gas sector. There's a lot of hurt in the retail sector. Obviously, some media outlets are facing the same types of pressure. I think it's important that the government treats everyone as fairly as possible in this crisis.